Join me as I try to make homemade Gushers. Gushers haven't been around that long, only since 1991 when they were introduced. There's even a fun commercial where kids would eat the Gushers and then their heads would turn into fruit. Now in the 90s we had lots of different fruit snacks like fruit roll-ups and all sorts of things, of course Gushers, and I just wanted to see if I can create this at home. So keep watching. The first thing we need to do to make this is gather all of our materials and ingredients. Here is everything we need. We have a pot for boiling the water, a 1/3 cup measuring cup. We have different flavors of Jell-O. It doesn't matter if it's name brand or not, but 4 different flavors, and we only need the 3-ounce package. This one is 6, but I'm only going to use half of it. We're going to need some gelatin, and we're only going to use 1 package for each flavor. That's 0.25 ounces. You're going to need something to whisk it, a large bowl, cooking spray, and our molds. Now these molds are the closest shape I can find to actual Gushers. And I like to put it on a pan so when I put it in the refrigerator, it isn't getting flimsy, right? We have something to hold it with. Now these are the ingredients that we just need to make the main part of our Gushers, and that is going to be like our gummy outer shell. The first thing we need to do is boil some water. Now we're going to need more water than what it calls for. For instance, it calls for 1/3 cup of boiling water for every different flavor package that we're going to use, but I'm going to boil more of that because of evaporation. So now that our water is on the stove, heating up and getting ready to boil, what we're going to do is start out by picking which flavor we're going to work with first. I picked the blueberry Jell-O, and all we need to do, and because this is 6 ounces and I only need 3, is pour half of it into a large bowl. And then 1.25 ounces of gelatin. At this point, we can just mix that together, the regular gelatin plus the Jell-O. And as soon as our water has started to boil, we're going to then take 1/3 cup of that and pour it into here. All right, as soon as the water starts to boil, we can turn off our heat. Now we're just going to take 1/3 cup of that boiling water, be very careful, and add it to our powder. Then just mix this together really good. That boiling water is going to help dissolve a lot of that powder. There is a difference between making this and making regular Jell-O, so don't follow the directions on the back or else it will be too runny. We're making it a little thicker with less water. When that's mixed up, we're going to let it sit for like 5 minutes. All right, so now I'm bringing in our molds, and I talked about these a little bit already, but our molds here, these are honeycomb molds because they have that honeycomb shape. That's the closest thing I can find to actual Gushers. And what I'm going to do is spray them with cooking spray. Just a little bit, doesn't need a lot. You don't want it to like sit in there and seep in pretty good, or puddle up, I should say. Just spray them a bit, and then we're going to pour in our mixture into that. Now this one, I have the blue raspberry. This one I'm going to do cherry flavor. It's always good to use a bowl with a spout in it. That makes it a lot easier to fill these molds. And just go ahead and fill these slowly. All right, so after filling this up, you can see I got 15 of these little honeycomb shaped filled in with that much of the recipe. And depending on what mold you find, if you do use these, I will put a link in the description below so you can get a hold of them too if you want to use the same ones I use. Now we're going to make some cherry ones and do it the exact same process. We're going to take this, put this in the refrigerator for about an hour. All right, so after an hour, you can take them out of the refrigerator and we can just pop them out of our containers. Come out pretty easily. And that is what one of them looks like right there. Now all we gotta do is figure out the hard part, which is how to insert the soft candy into the hard shells. Next, we're gonna make the filling for our Gushers candy. In order to do that, we're gonna need a few things. So here are the ingredients and tools you're going to need to make the filling inside the Gushers. We're going to need a heavy bottom pan, wooden spoon, some light corn syrup, that's 1/4 cup, half a cup of sugar, and half a cup of water. Now that we have everything in place, let's start off by putting our half a cup of sugar into our heavy bottom pan, our 1/4 cup of light corn syrup in there, and half cup of water. Give this a light little mix here. And then we're going to bring this over to the stove and heat it up until it gets to about 220 degrees Fahrenheit. The edges will start to boil quickly, but we're going to wait until all that water is clear and you can see all that sugar and corn syrup dissolve. All right, at this point you can see the water is fairly clear. We're just going to come up and set our kitchen timer to 3 minutes start. If you don't want to rely on a kitchen timer, you can check it with a candy thermometer. Just make sure it gets to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so as you see, our syrup is done. This is the inside of the Gushers that we're making. We're going to add some flavor and some coloring, but we don't want to do that quite yet. Let it sit for at least 10 minutes. At this point, I've let it sit for 10 minutes. I'm going to add this bubblegum flavoring. This is some very strong flavoring. It's Lorraine Oils. I'll put a link below if you need it. Bubblegum flavoring, just a couple drops is all it'll take. And then I'm going to add some pink food coloring. Just add that to this. All right. Mix it through. And when that's mixed in, we're going to let this sit for an hour because we don't want it to be hot or even warm at all. So let it sit out and let it cool down. All right, we're all done making the gooey part of our Gushers. That's the center, which is a lot more gooier than the outside. Now, it did take me a little bit of time to figure out how to do this, and through trial and error, we got it right, finally. Now the hard part, trying to figure out how to get this gooey center inside of this solid gummy. After giving it much thought, I decided I want to inject this gooey center into the gummy outside. Now, I don't have a syringe, so I didn't know how to do it, and then I come across this. This is just a condiment container, and I'm going to put that gooey center in here, inject this into the gummy, and squirt it, and hopefully it all doesn't just come out. But we'll see. Put our funnel in here and pour our gooey center in there. Now, just so you know, I did let this cool completely, so it is not even warm to the touch right now. I let it cool for about an hour, and that's also a good way to check to make sure you didn't keep it cooking too long, because if you did, it would reach the soft crack or hard crack stage, and it'll turn into candy. So we don't want that, more of a syrup. Now that we got our syrup in there, I'm going to take these one by one and insert them into the end. I'm going to kind of get my nozzle at least halfway in there and fill it up and pull it out as I'm filling it up. Okay, I did split this one. So that's not good, not ideal. Let's try it again this time. Be a little more careful so I don't go through the sides. Much better. It didn't go through either side. And I'm just going to leave this sitting upright for right now. It also helps me know which ones I've already done versus the ones I haven't. Now that they're all filled, we have to find a way to seal these. And the best solution I came up with was to make some more of this jelly base. And I'm just going to put a little bit on there. So I made this. And all I'm doing is taking a spoon and going to put a little bit over that hole that we just created and move it to the other side. What that'll do is when that hardens up, or firms up, I should say, then it seals that hole, and we can then turn it upside down without the liquid falling out. All right, so we're going to give that about 20 minutes. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator and see if it firmed up enough so that when we turn it over, nothing comes out. All right, so now what I'm going to do is cut open one of these Gushers just to see the fruit inside. And let's see how we did. I'm going to just cut this blue one here. After cutting these open, I can see that the candy filling that we put in there just kind of absorbed into the rest of the candy. And I don't know how to fix that. But these are still very good the way they are. They're not exactly Gushers, but they're pretty close to it. Now, I'm not one to give up so easily, so what I've decided to do now is when I make these, I'm just going to wait to fill the inside until I'm ready to eat it. So the first thing I want to do is take a toothpick and I want to open it up in there. And remember, go about halfway in, but I also want to open up a little bit inside, quite a bit, like just make a big void inside there. That way we have room for this filling to go. And once you're happy with that, go ahead and insert our condiment filling thing and go ahead and fill it up. Now you'll just eat it from there. But let's open this up and see what it looks like in the inside with all that filling in there. There we go. Still not perfect, but much better than the other way. And now let's try it out. That's good. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make these homemade Gushers. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Also, hit that big red subscribe button. You get new videos all the time. Check out this video right here. And until then, I'll see you next time. Jello, no. Gusher, or our, I'll start over. I said I should inject, no. There is the, what's it called? The filling.